Welcome to Sit, Stay, Read, the podcast for every wag, whinny, and whisker. I'm Kathleen Donnelly, award-winning author and retired canine handler. Each week, I chat with novelists about the bond we share with our furry friends and how they inspire stories. Grab a coffee, get cozy with your favorite pet. It's time to sit, stay, read. A big welcome today to Christa Nardi, who writes a variety of mystery genres, including cozy and romantic suspense and traditional mystery. She's written over 40 books, including the series featuring Stacie Maroni and her Maltese little dog, Jasper. The latest release in that series is Ventures, Vengeance, and Murder. Christa, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I was excited to have you on because I first met you at the San Diego BoucherCon, where you were our moderator for the Canine panel, which was a lot of fun. So I'd love you. I'd love to have you tell the audience a little bit more about your background, when you started writing, and just more about you in general.
Well, my background as a writer probably started in elementary school. I think that's how most writers started. And it became kind of academic for about 30 or 40 years. But I continued to write stories on and off when I would get bored or need a release. And so I really got into it again more steadily, probably about 15 years ago. And so one of the series, the first book was published in 2014. And I was a professor at that point, and Sheridan Hendley is the main character, and she was a professor. So I used some of that background. I'm also a psychologist, so there's a lot of psychology in all of the books. Stacie Maroni is a trauma counselor. And so it's kind of a mix. Um, I'm originally from Connecticut and currently live in Texas, where it's very hot right now. And and I really like writing. I also read a lot, and I enjoy mysteries. I've always enjoyed mysteries from Nancy Drew on up. And other than that, I love dogs. I have dogs. Well, right now we are down to one. All the dogs that I've had in the last 32 years have been rescues. And
Nice.
so at one point we had four at once, not because we went and tried to find them. They just ended up that way. And um, so I enjoy the dogs and I enjoy travel and just meeting other people and hearing what other people are doing.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, it is hot here in Colorado right now too, but we don't have the humidity you guys have, so I think you have it worse. But I love that you've had rescues. Now, are most of the characters in your books, four-legged characters, I should say, are they rescues?
And both of the Sheridan Hendley series, Murder at Cold Creek and the Sheridan Hendley series, they are rescues.
Nice.
Her dog in Murder at Cold Creek was a rescue, and when she moves, and that starts the Sheridan Hendley series, one of the things she does while she's looking for a job is she finds the local rescue and she volunteers there. And so then there's
Nice.
another rescue. And then she's also helping to rehome and find fosters and do other things. And there's a couple of quirky characters involved in the shelter. And they
Oh,
they
I
add,
love it.
add a little spice to the story.
I love it. And with the Stacie Maroni series, you have a Maltese, which they are such funny little dogs. They crack me up. I mean, they're kind of like prim and proper little dogs, but then they're not. So I'm
No.
curious, was there a real life inspiration for Jasper or
Um, well, my grandchildren have had a Maltese. I
okay.
think now they have less combination things, but they're little dogs. And my original poodle was a little dog. I'm a fan of little dogs. Um, some of the dogs in the family have Great Danes, but they're big. They're bigger than me.
Yeah,
So
they are big.
I like little dogs. Jasper wasn't a rescue. Jasper, it was the dog that Stacie had with her soon to be ex before he was murdered.
Okay.
And she gets custody of Jasper when he gets murdered. And Jasper is the only person who saw the murderer.
Oh, I love that. So Jasper is our key witness. Now that must be book number one. Is that
That's book number
true?
one. Yeah.
Okay.
And,
I was like, I'm
and
just going to take a wild guess there.
yeah, that was book number one. And Jasper has always been able to point out to her, even if it's just somebody's voice, um, that this is not a good thing, and
Yeah,
she should pay attention to it. And so she has to alert other people because all of a sudden, Jasper will start growling. They'll go, "What he's doing?" And he's going, "Something is wrong. We
I
need
love
to."
that. And dogs are
So,
so good with that. But little dogs, especially, I finally I never had a little dog until I had a Russell Terrier, and he was more in tune with people than any of my
mhm.
other dogs. I mean, my other dogs were too, but it just seemed like he had another level. Do you find that with your little dogs?
Yes, yes, I did with all of them except the one we have currently, and he doesn't like anybody who's strange, or he loves them all.
Interesting.
But I mean, the poodle that I got as an adult, um, she would even growl. We knew that when she was being taken care of, when I have a dog sitter come, and um, if she saw the dog sitter anyplace else, she would start growling. And that was
Oh,
my
wow.
clue. She's not going back to that dog sitter.
No. No, definitely not.
And she would growl. I mean, she loved people, but she would growl sometimes. And it was like, nope, not doing so good. Now Jasper's really good at hunting out the bad guys. Unfortunately, he's not too good at helping Stacie decide on a romantic interest.
Oh no. I love that. He's probably a little frustrated if she's not listening to him on that.
Well, and so he immediately got involved with somebody, one of the cops that was investigating the murder, and she was dating him, and that's still her favorite person, and she has moved on. But then anybody else who's in the house, if Rick happens to be there, the Jasper's going to Rick.
Okay.
And they're just kind of looking there going, really? So, there's that dynamic that he likes he likes good guys, and she was dating good guys. Well, mostly except for one that wasn't so good, and she got rid of him. But I mean,
Nice.
there's there's always been this kind of thing where, you can't tell which one is the one, because if they're good guys, he likes them.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. I like it. That
So
keeps it interesting.
yeah, it does. It keeps it interesting.
I love that. So tell me a little bit more about you. I guess there's two latest books. One was Stacie and one was Sheridan. So let's start with Stacie and the Ventures, Vengeance, and Murder. Tell me a little bit about that book and the background with it.
Just a little bit of background for that series. That series has an underlying theme of awareness of domestic violence and
Okay.
abuse. Okay, so
Okay.
there's no active abuse going on. There's no blood and guts or no details, but Stacie's involved in a foundation to provide support to victims of abuse, and she does trauma counseling with some of the victims. So that's kind of in the background. In Ventures, Vengeance, and Murder, a child advocate and physician is killed. And in his pocket is a flyer for one of the agencies the foundation funds.
Okay.
And so there's this link. It's kind of, we don't know where he got the flyer, but he's an advocate for victims, and the foundation's an advocate for victims. And somebody makes an anonymous call and says, there's an agency mishandling money.
Oh,
And so Stacie has to get involved because she's part of the foundation that's funding it. And she's really kind of interested in how come this child advocate was killed. And so there's different relationships and different ways how is this connected? And she's getting threatening calls once she starts asking too many questions.
okay.
And So then it kind of all comes out in the end with a very surprise ending. So I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, we don't want to know. No spoiler alerts, because we want people to go out and check out the book and buy the book and find out that surprise ending.
But that's the background, and part of that is because I have family members who were in abusive relationships,
Okay.
and as a psychologist, I've worked with kids who have been abused, and so the need to make people aware that it's happening and how to recognize it is something that is near and dear to me.
I love that. I read a statistic once. You can tell me if this is accurate, but that 1 in 4 women will be in a abusive relationship. Is that still fairly accurate?
I think it's even higher.
That's too bad. Wow. Yeah.
It is. Um, Side story, I was called for jury duty, and the for the jury duty, they do the all the questions ahead of time, and they never tell you what it really is, but you can tell by the questions. And they
Mhm.
asked the people who were sitting there, and there had to have been like 60 of us, 70 of us in this courtroom. They're asking questions, and they said, so raise your hand if you or anyone that you know has been a victim of physical abuse. And I swear 60% of the people raised their hands.
Wow.
Now,
Wow.
it may have been just somebody they knew, and it could have been some people were overlapped, but I mean, they couldn't seat the jury.
That's
They
amazing. Wow.
they went, every single person had to state how they were. The lady sitting next to me burst into tears. Um, I mean, it was like she couldn't talk. And I mean, so it went all around, and they let us go for lunch. We came back in and they said, we're unable to seat your jury. You're
Okay.
dismissed.
Wow.
So that
There's,
kind of raised my awareness that this isn't, I mean, and again, this is Texas, maybe it's regional. Um,
I think
but
so.
I don't think so. I think there's a
No.
lot of people out there, and people know it's happening, but they don't report it. And so it's not counted.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. It's a very serious topic, and I think it's hard, like as I'm listening to that, I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to your story because there's just so many emotions and layers with it
Yep.
and
And so it's kind of the emotions and just awareness that this is happening.
yeah.
And the people who are being abused are in a position where they don't feel they have any power, or
Mhm.
that if they do reach out to somebody, it's not going to be believed, or they're going to be blamed, or something. So it's kind of a real sad state of affairs.
It is. It is, and it's important to bring light to that and maybe even through fiction give someone hope that they can get out of this situation. Now, I find it interesting because that series is a cozy mystery and
But
yet
it's with an edge. Again,
okay, it's with an edge. Okay.
none of the abuse is on the page.
Okay. Okay, so that's kind of how you keep it in the, because I thought, oh, that's a dark topic, but an important topic. And I know cozies have some rules, or at least I've heard that. I've never written one, so it's not my
No
area
violence.
of expertise. Okay.
No violence. There is no violence. There is no description of all of the injuries.
Okay.
These are women who are trying to figure out how to start over because they have been abused.
Okay. Oh, that's great. I mean, again, what a important topic to cover, and maybe someone reading it, it'll help them through a difficult time
Yep.
and bring more awareness to this subject.
Yeah.
So,
And that was really the idea, was to bring more awareness because it's
yeah.
not something that people talk about.
No, it's not. It's definitely not. So your other series then was Sheridan Henley, is that right? Uh, that involves a dog rescue. Is that more traditional mystery or is that also a cozy?
It's also a cozy. I mean, it can't
Okay.
be traditional because they're amateurs. I
Oh,
mean,
that makes sense.
this
Yes.
is this
Okay.
little fine line. They aren't police, they aren't FBI, they aren't
Yep.
detectives, they're amateurs. So it becomes a that one is truly more cozy. There's a lot more community and dogs, and there's crimes, but they're all kind of, and they're all murders, but they manage to get it in there with friends. So Um, I'm going to put this up. I don't know if you can
Oh,
see
please do.
the title.
Yes.
That's Dogs and More Dogs. That is one where a dog comes from this house that's been abandoned. And when they follow the dog back, they discover this woman had like 30 dogs.
Gosh.
And unfortunately, and she was a hoarder. So as they start moving things around, they discover her dead body. Uh,
Okay.
and
That's
so Sheridan's helping them to clear out things and try to rehome all the dogs because they've had to open up the barn at the shelter where the shelter is to house all the dogs. And there's just dogs everywhere. And so she's contacting every local close by foster or shelter to take some of them because this is a small dog rescue, not for small
Okay.
dogs. It's a smaller
Right. Right.
smaller enterprise. And so at the same time, when they stumble on the body while they're trying to make sure they haven't left any dogs in between these stacks of papers and everything else, she gets involved with the children of the woman, which are adult children, and
Okay.
a brother and a sister who don't get along at all. And
Okay.
so the dogs are there, and then they have this murder to solve. Then they discover there's another body in the backyard. So,
Oh, okay. So
it's just
some good twists.
some good twists. But the shelter is always part of it. It's partly where she learns more about what's going on in the community. The woman who runs it is older, and she's a little eccentric, and she inherited the house complete with stray dogs and made it officially a rescue. And the
Okay.
downstairs is now all for the dogs, and she lives upstairs. And there are people who help her and volunteer, including Sheridan and some other people. And at least two people have done community service because of law enforcement issues with the
Okay.
rescue. And one of them has actually organized it finally so that it's much better run. And there's a man who the lady had been involved with when she was in high school, and then she moved away. But he became the mayor, and most of his family is in politics, and he knows everything that's going on in the community. And
Okay.
somehow Mrs. Chantilly knows everything that's going on too. But nobody's quite sure where she gets her information from. But in between her conversations, Sheridan will pick up leads and hints and go, I think this is what she's telling us. And so then they'd have another avenue to follow. So the dogs and the rescue and the people who are working with the dogs are a big part of all of the books. And they're involved in solving the mysteries, not the dogs, but the people who work at the shelter.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love what a great premise to have the rescue dogs and that's another great thing to highlight and bring awareness of is how all my dogs were rescues as well, even the working dogs. So it's nice to show that rescues are
Yep.
out there, that it's a great way. I think a lot of people are aware of that, but it's a great thing to highlight.
Yeah, and in the most recent of those, that one, which is Promises in Politics, Another Murder, um, the senator's wife is not coping very well, and Mrs. Chantilly calls her and offers her a dog, but she doesn't remember ever meeting Mrs. Chantilly, and so she freaks out. But there's a lot of discussion about dogs as support animals and providing
Okay.
emotional support, and she eventually takes Amika, who is a little dog, and is just happy as a lamb with the dog. And her daughter and a friend join in on volunteering.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
And
And,
so,
and volunteers are so needed at rescues too. So
so the dog rescue is always part of the involved with the mystery, although they aren't going out there and finding murder.
I love it. Now you have one other series, and I apologize, I don't know the name of that one, but I believe it has a cat in it. Is
Yep.
that correct? Okay.
Yes, it's Izzie Di Sante, and she's the youngest of my characters. She's
Okay.
in her late 20s, and she was working as a reporter in New York City following murders after she finished her college. And she had to return to Maryland when her both parents died, and they owned a family restaurant. And her sister wanted to keep the restaurant, and she promised her dad that she would keep the restaurant going. And so she's a reluctant restaurant owner who
Okay.
really doesn't get into food, except eating it. And she uses her business degree, but she has figured out a way by hiring more people that to work in the restaurant that she can take time off and go chase down cold cases.
Okay.
And she has a cat.
Oh, I love it. I love it. That sounds like a fascinating premise too with the cold cases. So you have these three series going on. What's up next for you then? What's going to release next?
Well, I haven't, the next one is another Izzy.
Okay.
Um, I try to, keep each series alive. And so in this one, she she had a very sheltered life because when she was growing up in the family restaurant, they didn't have any extracurricular activities. And the her male romantic interest says to her, can you help with this case? Because they're gonna they're accusing my friend's brother. And
Okay.
she has to learn about the game of baseball
Oh, I love
because
that.
it was a pitcher that was killed and a pitcher that's being accused, and she's trying to read the stats, and it's not making any sense to her at all. And so they're all looking at it, and they go to one of the bars where the baseball groupies hang out for this minor
Okay.
league, and she's with her romantic partner Henry, and Henry goes up to the bar to try and see what he can find out from the guys at the bar, and two of the women that are hanging out move over to her table and say, "Where did you meet him? He's hot." And she's there. Well, I needed a ride and I called an Uber.
I love it.
I'm not sure that's how you find somebody normally, but he was my Uber driver. Um, and that actually happens in the first book where she does that. And
I love
so
it.
there's some interesting points in there and lots of Italian food. At
Mm.
least one reviewer did comment that you could end up craving Italian food by the time you're through. But
There's
that's
worse
kind
things
of,
to crave.
there are worse things to crave. And I mean, so you have the whole dynamic of the family restaurant and the two sisters, and the sister who isn't too thrilled with Izzy going out and trying to chase murderers. And
Yeah.
I mean, Izzy lived in New York for 4 or 5 years, and so it's a small town Pinewood is like, this is nothing. And you know, they have all their relationships as well. And
Love it.
um, now everybody has cats because her cat had kittens, and so the kittens all went.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, as we wrap up here, your books sound amazing and you have plenty out there for everyone to start reading. And it sounds like you have more on the way, which is great. Where can readers find your books and how can they best connect with you?
They can find my books on Amazon. That's the only place they can find my books,
Okay.
with the exception of Promises and Politics, Another Murder. All of the published books are also available on Audible.
Okay.
So they're all available in audiobook, and I've had some great narrators. Um, and in terms of contacting me, I think I'm on every type of social media out there.
Nice.
I'm on X, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Facebook, Pinterest,
Nice.
Instagram. I have an account on TikTok, but I have yet to post there. So that's probably not
Okay.
the best place to contact me.
All right. But there's plenty of other options. So
Yep,
that is
yep.
perfect.
And I do have a website and I do have a newsletter.
Okay.
And people can contact me through the newsletter or through my email. Uh, I'm just out there.
That's fantastic. Great. Well, perfect. Well, that gives everyone, and like I said, I love that you have a lot of books for readers to jump in, and I love that they stand alone, but you have a series, and so that is just fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today, and I look forward to reading more with our fearless Maltese Jasper and the rescue dogs and our rescue cat and see where all their adventures take them next. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. And everyone, until next time, keep your tails wagging and pages turning. Thanks for joining me today. Sit, Stay, Read is a part of the Authors on the Air Global Network. If you enjoyed today's author interview, be sure to leave a review and share the episode with a fellow animal-loving reader. If you're curious about the world of working dogs and wilderness adventures, please check out my books at KathleenDonnelly.com. Until next time, curl up with your best furry friend and sit, stay, read.